The Champions League final might be heading to Poland, there's a massive scandal in Japan, Berlin takes the German Cup, an insane match in Kazan, and Sam Deroo is joining Lokomotiv. All that and more in this episode of Volleyball News. You know the drill, drop a like and subscribe and I'll keep bringing you the freshest updates from the volleyball world. And if you're looking for live streams and top-tier league matches, I've got you covered in my VK group. You can join via the QR code on your screen or the link in the description. Poland might host the Champions League Final Four. Polish Volleyball Federation President Sebastian Swiderski confirmed that they received an offer to organize the final stage. However, the hosting fee is steep, just the registration alone costs around 2 million euros. The tournament is scheduled for May 17th, 18 and time is running out for preparations. Back in January, Berlin was mentioned as a possible host, but now Poland is back in the discussion. Two independent sources report that negotiations with the CEV have already taken place and an agreement has been reached. The main candidate to host the event? Lodz. Berlin wins the German Cup for the third year in a row. In a thrilling final with over 10,000 fans in attendance, Berlin edged out Düren 3-2. That's 3 straight cup titles, and the 8th in club history. The match lasted over 2 hours with constant shifts in momentum. Düren led 2-1 and was close to pulling off an upset, but Berlin turned things around. The key moment came in the fourth set when Jake Haynes fired off 4 aces in a row, setting up his team for a dominant tie-break finish. Haynes finished with 26 points and was named MVP. The German national team is drawing massive attention. Tickets for the August 23rd friendly between Germany and Belgium in Lüneburg sold out in just 17 minutes. Due to high demand, another match between these teams has been scheduled for August 22nd. Earlier, Germany will play Italy in Munich on May 25th in a special friendly to celebrate the 50th anniversary of the Bavarian Volleyball Federation. Meanwhile, German volleyball legend Georg Grozer is heading to China. The 40-year-old opposite will play for Shanghai next season. Another big name in German volleyball is stepping into a leadership role. Lukas Kampa has been appointed as the new athletes representative and a member of the German Volleyball Federation's presidium. His job: identifying athletes' concerns and ensuring smooth communication between players and the federation. He'll also have a say in shaping sports policy and representing volleyball players at various levels. Sam Deroo is moving from Kazan to Novosibirsk. The Belgian outside hitter, currently playing for Zenit Kazan, will suit up for Lokomotiv next season. A month ago, he had offers from Polish clubs Olsztyn and Lublin, as well as interest from Russian side Belogori, but in the end he chose Novosibirsk, who will fill Lokomotiv's foreign player slots next season. Dmitry Kovalev might be heading to Fakel. The Novi Urengoy club has made an offer to the 33-year-old setter. Yaroslavich is also interested, but Kovalev himself is leaning toward Dinamo Elo. Modena signs Uriarte due to the Czecho's health issues. Luciano De Cecco continues to suffer from recurring kidney colic and tests have confirmed kidney stones. With future episodes unpredictable, the club decided to sign 34-year-old Argentine setter Nicolas Uriarte for the remainder of the season. Tatsunori Otsuka extends with Milan until 2027. The 24-year-old Japanese outside hitter will stay with the Italian club despite a lucrative offer from Blue Teon. Meanwhile, his current teammate Davide Gardini is likely to join Modena. Yuki Ishikawa will remain with Perugia. According to Italian media, the 29-year-old Japanese outside hitter is set to extend his contract with the club. French rising star Noah Duflos-Rossi is heading to Italy. According to social media reports, Lube Civitanova has signed the 17-year-old French outside hitter. The young talent is the son of former French national team player Patrick Duflos, who recently extended his coaching contract with Toulouse. The reported deal with Lube is for 2 years, with an option for a third. Fenerbahce made a move for Mandiraci, but the outside hitter wants to stay in Piacenza. The Turkish club was keen on the 22-year-old, but Ife rejected all offers as he prefers to continue his career in Italy at a high-level club. Piotr Nowakowski is coming out of retirement. The two-time world champion is set to sign with Gdansk. His last club was Project Warsaw. Meanwhile, his namesake Jan Nowakowski will be joining Slepsk next season. The 30-year-old middle blocker is currently playing for Lublin. Jan Hadrava will stay with Olsztyn. Despite recent criticism from the club about his performance, the Czech opposite is not leaving. Talks are also ongoing with Bartosz Kurek. Olsztyn can't fully meet the 36-year-old opposite's financial demands, but remains hopeful of securing his signature. Bartosz Zych is moving to Zaksa. The 19-year-old outside hitter from Resovia will switch clubs next season. More contract details emerge about Marcin Janusz's move to Resovia. The 30-year-old setter, leaving Zaksa, is reportedly signing a 3-year deal with his new club. Joel Banks is the new head coach of the Netherlands. The British coach has signed a 2-year contract with an option for 2 more. He replaces Roberto Piazza, who took charge of Iran after 5 years with the Dutch team. Banks will continue his club duties as Berlin's head coach alongside his national team role. Abouba is close to renewing with Minas. The 31-year-old opposite, who has had successful stints in Italy and France, has become a key player for the Brazilian club, which has now offered him a new deal. Javier Weber is staying with Tanders until 2028. The 59-year-old Argentine coach turned down several offers for next season, including one from Brazilian club Minas, citing disagreements over team management and political issues. He will continue balancing his role with the US national team staff and leading the Japanese club Tanders through at least 2028. Motoki Eiro is leaving Blution and joining Tanders. As reported earlier, Blution has already found a replacement for the 28-year-old Japanese setter, 2-time Olympic champion Antoine Brizard, who will make his debut in the Japanese league next season. Mert Matic could be on his way to Fenerbahce. The Turkish club has made an offer to the 29-year-old middle blocker from Halkbank, but his decision is still unknown. Sada Cruzeiro is keeping its middle blocker trio for next season. Otavio, Lucas and Klede Nilsson have all extended their contracts and will continue playing for the reigning world champions. The Brazilian powerhouse is focused on maintaining its winning squad to chase more trophies next season. After 10 years with Minas, Mikey is moving on. The 27-year-old Brazilian libero will join Guarulhos next season. He's the 5th player leaving Minas after the end of the Superliga season. Setter Thiago Veloso is set to play for Joinville next season, stepping in for Rendrick, who's heading to Praia. Ezequiel Palacios is staying in Montpellier. The Argentine captain will continue his journey in France. After winning the French Championship and 2 Super Cups, he signed a new 3-year deal with the club. Now let's move on to the recap of this week's biggest volleyball stories. There was no shortage of action, and as always, we'll start with the Champions League, where the second leg matches of the round of 16 took place. Milan and Halkbank were the first to battle for a spot in the quarterfinals. The Italian side needed to win in 4 sets or less to force a golden set. They got the job done early on, but couldn't hold their lead in the crucial moments of the deciding stretch, allowing the Turkish team to move on. The showdown between Berlin and Lüneburg was even more dramatic. After a shocking loss in the first match, Berlin came out swinging and completely dominated the opening set. From there, though, every set was a nail-biter, with no team winning by more than 2 points. The match went the full distance. Berlin won 3-2, forcing a golden set. But just like in the Milan vs Halkbank matchup, the visiting team had the upper hand in the decider, punching their ticket to the next round. Not even an insane 44-point performance from Jake Haynes could save Berlin. Olympiacos vs Saint-Nazaire played out more predictably. The French team managed to take a set just like they did at home, but in the end it was the Greek club that secured the win and a spot in the quarterfinals. Here's what the current Champions League bracket looks like. On March 11th, Lüneburg will take on Aluron, while Monza will host Perugia. Then, on March 12th, Halkbank and Olympiacos will try to take down 2 Polish powerhouses, Project Warszawa and Jastrzębski respectively. Who do you think will make it to the semi-finals? The CEV Cup quarterfinals didn't bring quite the same level of drama. Ziraat played a 5-setter against Ljubljana, but they had already locked in their advancement after the second set, which allowed them to rotate their lineup. Interestingly, one of the top scorers for the Turkish club in this match against the Slovenian side was none other than Slovenian opposite Tonček Štern, who played a key role in securing Ziraat's win in both matches. Fenerbahce gave their fans a glimmer of hope by taking the opening set in their away match against Resovia. However, even without Bartosz Betnoš, the Polish team got the job done and even closed out the match with their bench players. Tours and Trentino both cruised to comfortable home victories, sealing their spots in the semi-finals. The French team will now face Resovia, while the reigning Champions League winners Trentino will go up against Ziraat. And finally, let's take a look at the Challenge Cup semi-finals. Lublin and Lube Civitanova once again made quick work of their opponents. On March 12th and 19th, they'll battle it out to determine who takes home this European trophy. With just a few matches left in the Russian Super League regular season, every game is becoming more and more crucial. While contenders for the top four, Zenit and Dynamo, faced off against weaker opponents, Lokomotiv had a tough away match in Kazan. Even though Lokomotiv had the better serve that night and Zenit Kazan wasn't necessarily in a must-win situation, the reigning champs still gave their home fans something to cheer about, pulling off a 5-set victory. The difference in setter and attacking quality was pretty obvious. Despite some shaky reception, Kazan still found a way to get the job done. Ural, after a strong start to the season, continues to struggle. This time they had no chance against Kuzbas on the road. And no, I haven't forgotten about the biggest match of round 28. If you missed it last week, Dynamo Moscow traveled to St. Petersburg to take on Zenit. The Moscow squad bounced back from their first round home loss in style, winning 3-1. Once again, Cvetan Sokolov showed why he's a top-tier player. Now you can check out all the results from last week's Russian Championship matches on your screen. Dynamo Moscow moves up to second place in the standings while Zenit sits in fifth. Given their upcoming schedule, it's unlikely they'll climb any higher. On the other hand, Belgorod still has a real shot at finishing second. The Italian regular season has wrapped up, so it's time to break down the key moments from the final round. All matches were played simultaneously, which only added to the drama. Let's start with Milan's home game, which was followed by a farewell ceremony for Matteo Piano, who is retiring from professional volleyball. Unfortunately, the team couldn't give their captain a proper send-off. Milan lost 0-3 to Modena, missing their chance to move up in the standings. Piacenza and Perugia put on a show, delivering one of the most exciting matches of the round. Despite Piacenza managing to steal the third set, Perugia took control in crunch time and secured a 3-1 win. However, even with this victory, they fell short of finishing first in the standings. Verona, meanwhile, had to grind out a tough 5-set win on the road against Taranto. That victory secured fourth place for Radostin Stoichev's squad. But the biggest impact was felt by Monza, who were fighting for survival. And of course, their match against Cisterna turned out to be the longest and the last one to finish. It was a real thriller. Monza nearly let their lead slip in the fourth and fifth sets, but in the end they edged out a 17-15 win in the decider, securing their spot in the Superlega for another season. Incredible! Let's check out the results from the final round of the Italian Superlega. And here's the final league table. Trentino claims the top spot thanks to a better set ratio, while Monza, despite having more wins, barely holds onto their place in the league. That means we have to say goodbye to Taranto. Here are the quarterfinal matchups: Trentino versus Cisterna, Perugia versus Modena, Lube Civitanova versus Milan, Verona versus Piacenza. The first matches are set for this weekend, with the series being played to 3 wins. Who do you think will make it to the semis? The Polish league had plenty of intriguing matchups, but not all of them lived up to the hype. Skra barely escaped defeat against Barkom, a team desperately fighting to stay in the top division. It took 5 sets, but the home team pulled through, extending their winning streak to 5 matches. That run, however, was cut short by Resovia, who confidently took a 3-0 win on the road. That makes it 12 straight victories for Tuomas Samelvuo's squad. Fans were hoping for a real showdown between Zaksa and Aileron, but reality hit hard. This current Zaksa roster just can't keep up with the top teams anymore. A clean sweep for the visitors. Meanwhile, the bottom of the table clash turned into another 5-set thriller. Katowice fought until the very end, but fell to Gdansk, officially losing their chances of staying in Plusliga next season. Speaking of Gdansk, that was their 11th tiebreaker this season. No wonder their matches keep drawing big crowds. Here are all the results from the past week in Poland. Check out how intense the fight for the 8th playoff spot is. Sure, whoever gets it will likely be knocked out in the first round, but right now 4 teams are battling for it. Absolute madness. Japan delivered some unexpected results this week, but all eyes were on the controversy that erupted in the match between Great Bears and Blution. Home team opposite Maciej Muzej made racist remarks towards Blue Teon's outside hitter Miguel Lopez, which unsurprisingly led to disciplinary action. Under SV League regulations, Muzej faces a ban of up to 5 matches, but given the severity of the incident and the growing media backlash, the punishment could be even harsher. This is the first ever case of racial abuse in Japanese volleyball, and now Muzej's future with the club is in serious doubt. As for the matches, Blue Teon secured a convincing 3-1 win in the first game. But without Muzej, Great Bears did push the rematch to a tiebreak, only to fall short again against the league leaders. That's now 16 straight wins for Blue Teon. Despite dropping some points, Wolfdogs held on to second place, sweeping Thunders in back-to-back matches. But for the visitors, these losses were a major setback. Blazers now sit in 6th place, holding on to the final playoff spot. After getting crushed by Stings in their first match, Blazers looked like they might be in trouble as well, but despite Stings finally breaking their losing streak, they couldn't build on it, falling in 4 sets in the second game. Here are all the results from the latest match week in Japan, and next week we're in for a huge showdown, Sunbirds vs Bluton. By the way, Stings briefly climbed to 4th only to drop back down to 5th again. Honestly, the only real suspense left is in the fight for 2nd and 5th place. Unless, of course, Sunbirds manage to sweep Blue Teon next week, then we'd have a legit race for 1st. Brazil had its fair share of big matches this week. Blumenau clutched out a 5-set win on the road against Suzano in a must-win game, putting them back in the playoff zone. Guarulhos, on the other hand, suffered a 1-3 home loss to Joinville, putting a serious dent in their playoff hopes, especially with a tough schedule ahead. Meanwhile, Praia has quietly put together a 4-game winning streak, climbing all the way up to 3rd place. Here are all the results from the past week in the Brazilian Superliga. Not long ago, Sada Cruzeiro seemed to have the regular season title locked up, but now even Sesi has a real shot at finishing 1st. Turkey gave us 2 high-stakes matchups this week, both ending with the same result. First, Fenerbahce swept Halkbank in straight sets, tightening their grip on 2nd place. Then, Matt Anderson put on a clinic, leading Zira to a dominant win over Galatasaray, ensuring Fenerbahce stays behind them in the standings. Sportoto needed a win over Altekma to keep their playoff hopes alive, but the visitors crushed their dreams with an impressive road victory. And let's not forget the crazy match between Arkaspor and Istanbul. The home team won 3-0, but the real highlight was the 3rd set, a ridiculous 37-35 battle. Here are all the results from round 24 of the EFLA League. Fenerbahce has stormed into the playoff zone, but can they actually challenge Ziraat in the decisive matches? And will Erwin Ngapet manage to defend the championship title he won with Halkbank last season? That wraps up the first spring edition of our volleyball news. Hope this one gave you an energy boost for the week ahead. So don't forget to drop a like and subscribe to the channel so you don't miss future episodes. As always, I'm Nick, love what you do and you'll succeed. See you soon!